many times have you said, I'll make a move when I know exactly what I want? Or I need to think about it, I just don't know what to do. What if I told you that the thing keeping you stuck isn't a lack of clarity? It's the belief that clarity comes before action. I know what it feels like to be stuck. I've had moments in my life where I knew something needed to change, but I couldn't yet see the path forward. And leaving a successful corporate career after more than 30 years was one of those moments. From the outside, everything looked great, but inside, I knew I was being called towards something different. The challenge was trusting myself enough to take the next step before I could see the whole staircase. You know, the longer we stay stuck, the more expensive it becomes, not just financially, but also emotionally, mentally, physically, and professionally. So today I want to talk about what being stuck is really doing to your nervous system, your confidence, and your career, and most importantly, how to break free from it. When we're uncertain, our brain interprets uncertainty as potential danger. Your nervous system loves certainty. It loves predictability. It loves knowing what's coming next. And when you don't know what's next, your brain starts scanning constantly for answers. You overthink, you overanalyze, you replay conversations, you imagine every possible scenario, and you second guess yourself. You know, research shows that stress impacts the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for clear thinking, planning, decision making. And under prolonged stress, our ability to make decisions becomes impaired. This creates a vicious cycle. You feel uncertain, and the uncertainty creates stress, and the stress makes it harder to think clearly, which creates even more uncertainty. No wonder so many women tell me they're exhausted. They're not exhausted from doing, they're exhausted from deciding. Or more accurately, they're exhausted from not deciding. Have you ever thought about the financial cost of hesitation? I really don't think people talk about this. Staying stuck feels safe, but often it's the riskiest thing that we can do. Every year that you delay applying for that promotion, negotiating your salary, speaking up, changing roles, starting the business, investing in yourself, there is a cost. So let's say a woman delays applying for a role worth an additional $20,000 per year. If she waits 3 years because she doesn't feel ready, that's $60,000. And that's before superannuation and bonuses and future salary increases and opportunities. So the same thing happens in your leadership career. The people who get promoted aren't always the most capable. Often, they're people willing to move before they feel completely ready. They are the ones that work on their visibility. I've worked with countless women who were already capable for their next role. They simply couldn't see it yet. Most people think they're stuck because they don't know what to do, but I disagree. Most people are stuck because they're trying to make a decision before they've answered the most important question. What do I actually want? Not what your manager wants or what your family wants, not what society expects. What do you want? Many women have spent years responding to everyone else's priorities. Then one day they wake up and realize they've lost connection with their own heart. No wonder they can't find clarity. They're searching for answers without first reconnecting to themselves. I've known this feeling all too well. So I have 3 mindset shifts that will get you moving again. So shift number 1, get clear on what you really want. I often ask clients, if there were no expectations, no fear, no judgment, what would you choose? And then I ask, why does that matter to you? Because your why creates energy. Your why creates motivation. Your why creates resilience. And this is exactly what I talk about in my book, Bounce Back Fast. When we're disconnected from our compass, we drift. When we're connected to it, we're able to move forward. Now for shift number 2, notice the story you keep telling yourself. So this second shift is about developing a growth mindset. So pay attention to your inner dialogue. Listen carefully. You will often hear things like, I'm not ready. I don't know enough. Someone else could do it better. And what if I fail? What if people judge me? Those thoughts feel true, but they're often just old stories. One of the most powerful questions you can ask is, what else could be true? Instead of, I'm not ready, try something like, I'm learning and growing every day. And maybe instead of, I don't know enough, think of, I know enough to take the next step. But here's the important part. Affirmations aren't magic. You don't just say them. You need to embody them. You need to practice them. You need to take action from them. Confidence isn't built by thinking differently. Confidence is built by actually acting differently. So shift number 3 is to take the next right step. Most people want certainty before action, right? But clarity comes from movement. You don't need to know the entire plan. You need the next step. Just one conversation, one job application, one phone call, one proposal, one decision, one brave action. I see women making the biggest career leaps are the ones willing to take action before everything feels certain. The most important thing is that you don't have to do this alone. One of the biggest mistakes I see women make is believing they have to figure everything out themselves. You don't. Talk to trusted friends, talk to family, talk to mentors, talk to people who genuinely want the best for you. And sometimes the fastest path forward is speaking with someone objective. A coach isn't there to tell you what to do. A great coach helps you hear yourself more clearly. Sometimes you don't need more information. You need a new perspective. You need to see that you have possibilities, that you've stopped seeing yourself. I've seen women spend years circling the same problem, then gain clarity in a single conversation, not because I gave them the answers, but because together we created the space for them to find their own answer. My goal isn't to tell women what they should do. My goal is to help women step into their unique leadership. Your path won't look like mine. Your next chapter won't look like everyone else's. But when you reconnect to who you are, what you want, and why it matters, the next step becomes much easier to see. So if you're feeling stuck right now, if you're frustrated because you know that you're capable for more, if you're tired of overthinking and waiting for clarity to magically appear, I'd love to help. So book a leadership clarity call with me. We'll talk about where you are, what's keeping you stuck, and what you really want, and the next steps that will help you move forward with confidence. Life's too short to spend years waiting for certainty. Clarity comes from action, and your next chapter might be one decision away.